Elvis Presley, from his early life to the day he died, relied on a handful of confidants known as the Memphis Mafia. These 5 men guarded Elvis, kept his secrets, and preserved his memories. Here, for the first time, on camera and on the record, they share their private accounts of life with a legend, the stories of all the King's men.
It was exciting. I thought, God, you know, it's unbelievable. And it's my cousin here, you know, and he's on the radio. You know, I mean, it just was, the feeling's just really hard to describe. It really is. You know, I mean, you got somebody that's done something in the family, because I'm going to be honest with you, nobody had.
And he was singing away, and I was amazed that here's this guy that I knew from school and that everybody thought was weird. It's up on the truck entertaining everybody, and he saw me and he went like this.
I grew up with Elvis Presley. I grew up and became a middle-aged man with Elvis Presley, and then all of a sudden, it's over. I knew the drugs had him, and they were going to get him, and there was no turning back, and I felt sick.
I was in the living room when she came in, and I said, Elvis, this is Priscilla. Priscilla, this is Elvis. And I said, I just had these visions of all of us just going to prison for life. You know, I was scared to death. She wasn't even 14 yet.
Elvis jumped up, went in and got this assault rifle. I think it was an AK-47 or something. He came out and put it in my hand. He said, Sonny, go kill Mike Stone. Do it for me. Go kill him.
We were all like brothers more than anything else.
The thing about him, he was such a part of our lives. You know, we just, everything, I guess outside of my father, he was the closest thing I had.
I went in to the house and called Graceland, and I said, what is going on? And his first words to me is, Marty, he's gone.
The door opened, and Dr. Nick, he walked out, and he's got these tears running down his eyes. He reached and grabbed me, and he said, he's gone. He said, do you want to see him? And I said, I don't think so.
We were part of something unique. We didn't even realize what we were a part of until after it was gone. And we spent a lifetime with a legend from the time we were kids until we were grown men, and it was a hell of an experience.
I'll tell you how different Elvis was. When I first moved to Memphis from New York in '52, I first went to Central High School. And we'd be sitting up in the stands, and you'd see this strange-looking guy walking around the track at Hodges Field or Crump Stadium, wherever the games were being played. And people used to point at him and laugh because he dressed different, and loud clothes, and his hair, you know, was longer. And I used to dress the same way because that's the way we dressed in New York.
What sealed our fate forever, I'm sure, I came into between classes, I went to the bathroom one day, and I saw these 3 guys and Elvis back in the corner. 2 of them were holding him, 1 guy had the scissors. Yeah, Elvis was different. He wore the long hair, and all of us had crew cuts.
Yeah.
And I walked in, looked around, what's going on, boys? We're going to cut a little hair off this boy here, you know. Well, I said, he don't look like he wants it cut off to me. He said, no, he don't, but we do. And I said, well, if you cut his, you're going to cut mine, and I ain't got too damn much up here to cut. And they looked at me and said, see if I was serious, and they saw that I was serious, and they let him go. Now, the story, these were football players. They weren't football players. These were just redneck dumbasses.
Well, I saw him the first time. I took a girl to see him when he came to Tucson Rodeo Grounds. And man, it was just pandemonium. And he drives in, and she's been cool so far. All these other kids carrying on and on. She's been real cool. And he comes in, and he steps out, and he falls down to his knees and about dust like that. Boy, and there went my girl. Like, whoa, hey. All of them were trying to get to him.
We used to have these talent shows at school. Elvis got up and sing Old Ship with his guitar, you know, and I had this little combo. I played the trumpet and had the guitar player and the whole bit, and I thought we were something. And this kid gets up and sings this little Old Ship thing, but they loved it. See, that's what's the difference between today's musicians and guys in those days. Today you got to do a showcase, which Lamar knows, and he would have had a tough time making it. When we first started out, it was just straight, but something happened on stage one day where he moved a leg or something, and a little scream came out. So that's how this whole act evolved.
21-year-old Elvis Presley, the son of Mississippi sharecroppers, returned to his hometown of Tupelo a millionaire. In the 3 years since graduating from high school, he became an international sensation, was the object of fanatical adoration by his audiences, and by the end of the year would have 5 #1 singles on the pop chart, including Heartbreak Hotel and Hound Dog. His sensual stage presence earned him the dubious nickname of Elvis the Pelvis, and the loyalty of the emerging youth culture. His parents, Vernon and Gladys Presley, were also caught up in their son's meteoric rise to fame. He had made his first demo record as a present for his adoring mother.
As he told it later, it was for his mama's birthday, and then later he told it was for Christmas. And really, I think, like I say, it was just to hear how he sounded. And as soon as he finished and got it and all, he took it and let her listen to it, you know. And of course, she praised everything he done, you know. She said, "Oh, it's great," and all this, you know. And of course, his daddy, he was somewhat a little different, and he said, "Well, I've never heard a guitar player yet that ever made a damn dime." So
she was the strongest. She was the strong. In fact, Gladys was the lead of the family. Period.
when she got mad, she had her. She would take a whole lot, and then when she got mad, she'd strike.
She used to brood a lot. That's where Elvis got his brooding. He was,
Well, I think she worried so much about him, by him being, you know, an only child, and her losing one, and not really being able to have another one. And she just was so protective of him. But she was really, most of the time, a real up type woman, you know. I mean, things didn't get her down that much.
she was a loud talker, and Vernon was real quiet.
Well, he was until he got to a point, and then he was a hitter, you know, and that.
He abused her real bad a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple of times, yeah.
That's a big thing. You know, people who have talked about Elvis since he died, a big thing about him calling home because she wanted to check on him. But, you know, as Billy has told us in the past,
Because he wanted to check.
that a big part of it was him checking to be sure that she was okay, that Vernon didn't hit her.
See, I think that's where Elvis got I think he got his warmth from her. Yeah. I also think he got his temper from her.
The worst fights that, and Red knows about this, and Gladys and Elvis getting a fight, it was. Yeah. And it always happened over the dinner table.
I remember, that's
Grace
exactly right.
Scared me half. I sat there just frozen, man. I was just scared to death because I didn't know what was going to happen. Boy, it just, I mean, they were in each other's face. And we'd been back home about, I guess a week from when we finished Jailhouse Rock, and I was sitting beside Elvis, and shit, there was a big plate of tomatoes and bacon and Crowder peas, and I think you were at the table, and I'm sitting there, and Gladys said something. Well, Elvis said, no, that's wrong. Well, she started. And then Vernon said something. He turned around to his dad and said, you don't need to say any more. Well, they started screaming. And Gladys picked up a plate full of tomatoes and just threw them all over Vernon. I mean, tomatoes went everywhere. I grabbed the crowd of peas, and I was going to head under the table. I said, there's no other way out here. I said, somebody's got to eat here, you know. It really got scary. I mean, it scared me to death. And that's the first time I'd ever seen a knockdown drag out like that. I mean, they were really, man.
That's why he was so like her in that respect. When he lost his temper,
he exploded.
I didn't care who, he didn't care who was in the room. He didn't care what he said about you, what he said about your family, what he said about your kids. And 30 seconds after he finished, he was sorry. He knew, but
He would get over it quick.
But that was a part of our relationship. I mean, that was the way our relationship was with each other, that you allow somebody you care about to do that, to let the steam
The
out.
only person that I've never known that really, when he got mad, it was like a dark cloud enveloped everything, and everyone around was affected by it. He may not be angry at you, he may be angry at him, but his anger was so forceful that it just, you couldn't wait for him to get out of it because it was bad.
He could push the buttons harder than anybody alive. I mean, he knew how to push the buttons, and when he pushed them, I mean, I've seen us, I've read myself, Sonny, Marty, Bill, I've seen us all double up. I mean, he's doubled us up in pain.
Teenage hearts across the country checked into Heartbreak Hotel in 1958 as Elvis is drafted into the Army.
I do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the United States of America.
Elvis is now marching to a different beat. Not only is he leaving behind a phenomenal recording career, but also a string of top 10 movie hits, among them King Creole, Love Me Tender, and Jailhouse Rock. When Elvis surrenders his trademark long hair, the shearing makes the front pages of newspapers and magazines around the world. Posted to Germany, Private Presley is assigned to a tank unit, but would find he can't escape the assault of a photo-hungry press corps. Even with constant attention, Elvis politely answers reporters' questions with a diplomat's flair.
Miss the singing career very much, or are you enjoying this Army life?
I miss my singing career very much. And at the same time, the Army is a pretty good deal, too.
Elvis hated being there because he thought his career was over with. I mean, you know, he had this fast rise to the top all of a sudden in 3 years, and then bam, in the Army.
Sure.
He become a movie star, the greatest record-selling singer ever, and then bam, here you are in Germany. Well, on the post and everywhere else, he was a soldier. He did his job. I mean, he stood up in the cold, up on the border in the wintertime in Grafenwehr, freezing weather, sitting in a Jeep as a scout, watching the Russians on the other side of the fence. But when he came home, we heard all, you know, about how much hey, I hate this shit, Colonel Parker, son of a bitch, you know, this, that, and the other.
Oh, I know.
But then when he went back to the post, he was a perfect soldier again.
Remember, we used to go to Frankfurt to the nightclubs. Elvis really, he would, anytime he got a chance to go around entertainers or the business itself, he would go because it would remind him of what he did. And we were over there at this club one night, and just this girl was a what do you, when they twist all, what do they
Contortionist?
Contortionist she was, you know. And later on, Elvis went up and saw her and got back in the car, you know. Red and I just, our tongues are out of our panting, wanting to know what went on. I said, how was she? He said, boy, you cannot believe what I was. Man, well, we pried on him for 2 days trying to get what went on in there. It was just, it was unbelievable. Things like that would happen to him. We didn't happen. It didn't happen to us, and we just thought it was great. I said, did she do all? He said, oh, yeah.
Girls were always coming to the house. So, and I didn't speak any, I'd learned a few German words, like, du schlafen mit mir.
What's that mean? The important ones.
Yeah. So this one real cute little girl came to the door, and she started speaking. She couldn't speak English, and I couldn't speak German, and I finally said, let's get to the chase. Du schlafen mit Elvis? Yeah. So he hadn't come home from the base yet, so I sneaked her up to the room and put her in the room. And in about 10 minutes, Elvis came home, and I said, Elvis, I left a little present in your room up there. Oh, really? And he went up there, and 3 or 4 hours later, they came out.
Grinning ear to ear. We would go on leave to Paris, and we would go over to the Lido and see the Lido show. And the Lido girls were actually a group of girls called the Bluebell Girls. And after the show, Elvis invited them all over to the hotel. So about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, this guy called my room, and I answered, and I said, hello, and he said, sir, he said, listen to me. And I said, what do you want to tell me? He said, y'all have all the women over there. And I said, really? He said, what women? He said, the dancers. We can't start the show. And so I went to Elvis' room, and I opened his door up, and it looked like a harem. And I mean, we're talking everywhere. You know, I had stepped on 4 or 5 of them trying to get to the room. And it was like a parade. Girls were walking through with their stockings around their necks and carrying their purses and their clothes. And we loaded all 5 limousines up to take them back over to the hotel. It was really...
I think this is a good place to bring up something, because I know that every one of us, and even the guys that ain't here, have heard it since Elvis has died about all the stuff he did for us and how much money we made and this and that. I don't think, with the exception of 2 or 3 who will go unnamed, that any of us were there for the money. If we were there for the money,
if been the money, would never stay.
Nobody would have been there, because there was none. And we didn't complain.
Yeah.
I mean, every once in a while somebody would say something, but for the most part, we didn't complain because we loved being there. And it wasn't just with Elvis. We had such a tremendous camaraderie and relationship, all with each other and with Elvis and him with us, that, hey, the best thing I can say is that I wish that kind of relationship on everybody.
In March of 1960, Elvis is discharged from the Army and returns home to his adopted city of Memphis, a hero. The time overseas has matured Elvis and given him a suave new look, yet his music and his career has stayed on his mind.
I don't think rock and roll is dying. Some people say it is. A lot of people say it is, sir, but I'll tell you, it has changed some. The music itself has changed. It's progressed quite a bit, I think. It's better. I think it's getting better all the time, you know, because the arrangements are getting better. They're adding more instruments and, you know, so forth. It's getting better, but in 1956, when I first started out, I was hearing the same thing, that rock and roll is dead, it's dying out. I'm not saying that it won't die out, because it may be dead tomorrow completely. I don't know. I wish I didn't know.
Meeting him at the train station is manager Colonel Tom Parker, who has tightly controlled Elvis's every career move since 1955. Back home at Graceland, the next chapter of Elvis's life has begun. He will soon star in his 5th film, G.I. Blues, and is now involved with a dark-haired beauty he met while in Germany, the young daughter of an Army colonel, Priscilla Beaulieu.